You've reached call in Mockery.
We just have to run a quick test to make sure the microphones are on.
Yeah.
I hope people are okay. Just sitting here. Hang tight with us for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, coming in
check
strong.
Landon's mic really quick.
Yeah. Yep, we're
Okay.
coming
Sounds
in.
good. Yep, great.
Shall we?
Yeah.
We better.
Yeah.
Do you want? Is that the one you want?
I'm
or-
fine, unless you want this.
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. They're yours.
Are you going to be a little liquid death?
We'll see. Which flavor did you get? I have a new one this week. It's convicted melon.
And I've got unparallelable.
God, it's been a big week. Welcome to Colin Mockery. It's been a big week. And good evening, everybody in the news. Good evening. Oh.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see.
Fantastic news for America, the great state of Utah, and for the Republican Party. Mitt Romney, sometimes referred to as Pierre Delecto, will not be seeking a second term in the U.S. Senate, where he did not serve with distinction. Mitt Romney, sometimes referred to as Pierre Delecto.
By who?
I looked into this.
Tell.
Mitt Romney had an anonymous Twitter account several years ago, like 6-7 years ago. The name was Pierre Delecto.
Oh my God.
And he came out and said, yes, that's me. I mainly just use it to look at what's going on. I don't tweet from it. It's just a name. My son set it up for me, and it's a name I came up with.
He came up with it?
He came up with Pierre Delecto, and then Donald Trump, like 2 days ago, used it. It's just one of those things he does that reminds you how funny he is. Sometimes referred to as Pierre Delecto. Just
a little piece of Mitt Romney lore that everyone forgot about.
Just to knock him just a little bit.
We know you're Pierre.
Sometimes referred to as Pierre Delecto.
Never forget.
Goes to show. Goes to show.
I'd like to go to a show, but I will tell you which one I'm going to. Not yet. I'll tell you after I go to it.
Okay.
But I did get a ticket.
To a show? Mm-hmm. Wow. And when is this show? When do we get to hear about it?
I think in like a month.
Okay, so there's going to be a couple episodes between this and that, right? Or you can get with this, or you can get with that, or you can get with this, or you can get with that.
Let's just say I'm getting very excited. I'm seeing Anthony Jeselnik.
Yeah, and I'm his opener. Hey, how we doing? I'm American Gigolo. I'm, of course, Eugene Murmurn. So, big week this week, everyone. In the news, of course, there's been so much going on. We've already touched on so much.
Yeah.
Pierre Delecto. There was something else that I was supposed to talk about. I got to check my notes, but I'm sure you've got something, of course.
No, well, I have this whole list of movies that I want to talk about. I don't know if this is the week to do it. If we wait, I don't know. Maybe I'll just kind of chip away at the list.
I've got two. Okay, so I have two notes. The first note is "ya," and then the second note is Pierre Delecto.
Oh, well.
Can I talk about something quick?
Seems we've covered all the news items.
And I meant to bring. It's in my
swing cheeks. Okay.
It's in my car, so I don't have it. But if you can imagine, but this is mainly a podcast. So many podcasts now, because we're switching to video, they are starting to do more and more stuff where you then have to like.
You're like, well, let me pull over.
Okay, so I got to pull over.
Go to the YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Then I have to find the same spot, but it's never the same spot.
No, because they have different ads on YouTube than they do on
right, Fiverr. So then you got to find it, and then you go, oh, he was making a face.
Oh yeah,
And
they,
then
they thought it was funnier than it is.
Right. And I can see them laughing as they're getting into it. So I'm like, that's not okay. I thought it was more spur of the moment. So then I get back on the road. We have to wait a while because cars are like,
Well, yeah, you're on the Autobahn
you finally get in,
to the Autobahn.
and then people are honking at you. You realize you've been on the Autobahn with your hazards still on because you pulled over.
Yeah.
So for 3-4 miles, you're just like, what? Go around. I'm going 80. And they're like, is this the Autobahn? You can go however fast you want.
You fast as much as possible.
80 is not that fast because
80
we're
is
using
fast as a little
kilometers, which is would it be faster? Wait, 80 is slow in kilometer.
Actually, we go 200 km.
You're not really British, are you? No, I'm German.
Thank you.
So we did all that.
Hey, there's a place down the street that's starting to sell. Well, they're not starting to sell. I think that's all
you
they
either
sell.
are or you aren't.
It's called Yummy Yummy Banh Mi. Now, there's an Autobahn for me. I'm going to get auto banned from going in so often.
Yeah.
I haven't gone yet, but I really want to.
You're not allowed to eat banh mi's.
No, well, because I want to, but I want to. I want to go, and I almost went a couple different times, but I just still haven't yet. So
I like a good banh mi, and sometimes you're not sure how hot the jalapenos are going to be, and you bite down on your little BM, and suddenly you're, oh my God, I didn't mean it. Don't put that on TikTok.
No. What you have to go, listeners of Just the Podcast, go to the video screen, go to the video version. You're gonna want to see what just happened.
I can't believe that just happened in person. I can't believe they got that on tape, on
Oh my
videotape.
God! You know that's why we record everything, every single thing.
Well, to go back to what I was talking about, hot mic. I imagine a little glass jar, smaller than a ball jar.
Okay, hold on.
But bigger than a ball
Gag.
Yeah. So imagine that, about yay big. I go to get, this is how crazy stuff's getting these days.
Yay big.
And I want to know if I'm the A, okay?
Okay. Tiny glass jar, bigger than bulb, smaller than.
I decide to, and I don't want to name this place because I do like the people, but I'm very frustrated with them. What?
I think I know what you're going to say.
No, you're not.
I think I know.
What are you gonna? What do you think?
No, go ahead, and then I'll tell you.
You're not gonna know. So I go to get coffee this morning.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I want a nice coffee
To go.
to go. But this place typically, here's why I want an iced coffee. This place uses glass jars. Okay?
I know what he's gonna say.
And because of the thread on the jar, well, there's a whole thing with the jars, and I know they're good for us, right?
Jars are good for us.
You're supposed to then bring your
Especially
jar.
that movie Jarhead.
Well,
Little guy with a
I don't
Christmas
think that's
Santa
good
hat.
for us. Well, what?
I don't know.
I think it's a helmet.
All I know is the thumbnail on Netflix for me for Jarhead is Jake Gyllenhaal completely naked, but with a Santa hat in front of his crotulus.
Oh.
So I've never seen Jarhead, but I imagine that's a very funny scene in a very funny movie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. Well, you're gonna talk about Jake Gyllenhaal naked on my screen, and I'm just supposed to sit here like, yep, that's normal. Something's going on. Something has
That's what
happened.
I'm laughing at. The thing he fell. That's awesome, guys. You have to check out the video feed. I swear to God,
This room is—it's like poltergeist activity.
This has never happened before. So many funny visual things happening in one episode. But you're gonna have to check out the video feed because it's just so funny. Okay, go ahead.
That's
so
crazy.
you want to go coffee?
I want
you
to
get
go
it from
coffee.
a place. They use a jar because it's environmentally sound.
And but then you have to bring the jar back, and I get it, but I have about 10 of these jars at my house that I have to then remember to bring back. And you go, is it too late? Can I bring it back? Do they want, then blah,
Right.
blah, blah. But I there's a drippage issue with the jars. And look at my shirt. White. So I go, I'm going to get an iced drink. I go out this morning. It's cold. And I go, I'm getting a hot drink.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to work. I'm trying to go. I go in there. I say, what do you got on drip? And she goes, And I've just seen 2 of the other people that work there leave in a car with like 3 drip machines. They are going somewhere. They are going to some sort of event. And I knew, I was like, they're not going to have the drip. So they don't.
They took all their drip machines?
They took all the coffee that they had dripped and they took it. So they don't have drip right now. They could make some, but it's going to be a while. So I said, all right, I'll just do the pour over, the classic. Everyone knows what that is. But here's what you don't know about this coffee place and their special little coffee.
Takes 20 minutes.
Market price.
Oh, no.
So you don't know. So they say, we have this one and this one. So I say, okay, I'll do that one. It's all one size. She goes, okay, that's going to be $6 for a coffee. So
like a
all
12 ounce.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, oh my gosh. Already I'm kind of pissed. I'm like, $6 for a cup of coffee. Like, and it is this, it's a jar, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting a 20 ounce for $6.
And it's still it is just a black coffee.
Yeah, right. I get, they're like, it's from and I'm like, yes, but everyone gets their coffee from whatever.
Right.
So I'm already mad. I just
Like
got the iced
5
coffee.
cents for you,
Yes.
$6 for me.
5 for you, 6 for me. And they go, right, 5 for you, 6 for me. And then I'm confused and I pay them. So I pay them
Sure.
and I'm waiting and
course.
waiting and waiting.
Tip?
Yes, please. So I'm waiting and the machine does make you guilt you into a tip.
Yeah.
You go, got that. I go, wait and I wait and I wait. She brings me my little glass jar because I thought maybe since they were doing the cold drinks in the little recyclable cups now that maybe this new location of theirs has switched. I said maybe the downtown location still has jars and this one doesn't. No, they still have jars with a little napkin wrapped around it, so my hand's still hot on either side of it.
Yeah.
She brings it over to me and I'm flustered and I gotta go because it took a while to get it. And as I walk out with it, I noticed the jar is half full. So now I have maybe
Hey, that's good that you think of it half full, though.
yeah, I guess that's true. Well, then I don't even need to tell the rest of the story.
No, please.
Well, now that I'm happy about it, because you're correct. But so now I've got maybe 6 to 8 ounces of coffee, $1 per ounce. I've paid $6 for half a cup of regular black coffee. I've already left to go to my car, and I'm confused because it's like I could go back in and be like, hey, because I've got coffee from there before, not this new location.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm starting to look at my hand and I'm like, maybe the jars are bigger. Maybe they're using bigger jars. So like the big ones are only for other drinks. And I'm like, did I pick the most expensive where they're like, this coffee costs us $50 a pound.
Right.
Like this is, and I'm looking and I'm like, there's no, do I go back in and say, hey, usually this is full. I don't know what to do. And
Any way you could pour over some more pour coffee in my pour cup?
I'm mad. I'm like, I paid $6.
$1 per ounce.
I get coffee out more than I should anyway, probably.
I was gonna say, how many bags of coffee do you have at your house that you could have just made?
Because I already talked to my mom about this earlier, and she said, so you left your house to get coffee and then went to work. And I said, that's not the point of the story.
No, of course
Because I also told her about this. I'm so mad.
Of course. And by the way, every time I leave my house, I get a coffee.
Right. That's the other thing. I can make coffee at home, but also it just doesn't taste the same. No matter what I make and I put it in the to-go thing and I go, this tastes like old coffee now, or it doesn't taste you don't feel the same as the experience of going to the coffee shop.
Right. You go in, you say...
But now this is the worst of all worlds.
Yeah.
It already costs too much as it is.
Darkest timeline,
where it costs too much. I don't get a full amount. It took long. And I'm just confused. And I've parked somewhere where it says do not park. It's like odd.
Well,
it says
that's your fault.
It says today's an odd day, so it says even days only or something. Right?
Sure.
I'm not supposed to be there.
But you think you're just running for a drip.
Exactly.
Take 1 minute, maybe.
So then I got to run to my car because I don't want... Yes, I don't want the poozers from the city to come take my car.
And any drippage from as you're rushing?
Luckily, no drippage. Okay?
Drippage!
I don't have to
That's
go to
a funny Seinfeld. They would do that now.
They would do that where he's like, it burns. It's dripping and it burns.
Drippage? What do you mean, Jerry?
His
Drippage!
doctor hears and he thinks he's talking about something else.
Yeah.
Discharge. And so I'm not Jerry anymore. I'm pissed off. I'm so mad. $6.
So what do you do?
Pierre, nothing.
Oh, so you're just so mad.
I finish it on the way to the parking lot to work. I got out of my car and started walking to work, and there was this much left. And again, go to the video. And so I was like, what am I doing? So I just gulped it all. And then that gives you like one rush of like, I'm here to do my work as a video producer.
And then you go in and have a K-cup.
I go in, I have a K-cup. Well, then you see, look at this.
Yeah.
Went somewhere else later. But
He held up a coffee cup.
I had to get more.
He had to get another
This
coffee
later, of course, but it's just, what do you do? Am I the A for thinking?
No.
I mean, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, of course.
But then I knew I was like, she's worked for them. She's worked at the other, because I was like, is she new?
She knows that she gave you half a cup of coffee.
She does, because the way she gave it to me was shame.
Why do you think she done it?
She wouldn't she looked in my eyes when I came in. She looked in my eyes when she asked me for my name. She looked in my eyes when she asked me for my my number, my card number. She was like, we actually can't take, she's like, can I have your card number? And then she's like, I need the 3 digits on the back and the expiration date. She wrote it on a notepad.
Where was this coffee
and put it in her pocket. And she goes, and $6 cash.
Wait a minute. Where was this coffee place?
It was in the alley.
I don't think you're into a coffee store, baby.
No, that's you probably should have just said something.
I should have, and I was just so.
I wouldn't
but you
have.
also don't want to be
of course
embarrassed because they're like, well, everyone else pays $6 for half a cup of coffee. You poor shit.
Well, that's the thing, because you say something and then they say, yeah, that's how we do it here.
Yeah, and you're like, oh yeah,
yeah, of course, yeah, I'm from Chicago, I know.
you're right. It cost me less money to live there. $6 for half a cup of coffee,
Well,
and it's been full before. That's the thing. That's like, then do I say? I should have just said.
I've been here before.
Last time it was full.
Last time it was full.
But that was at the other location, so maybe she's like, well, downtown we do it different.
Downtown, we give you exactly what you paid for.
Downtown, you get what you pay for. And you're like, usually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Usually they rip you off downtown.
Yeah. She's like, not around these parts, sugar pants.
I think they were out of the coffee. She didn't want to say, hey, we're out. So she just made less and thought it would fill up more. But then it's already been like 10 minutes.
Yeah. She's like, come on.
Yep. She's looking at it. She's like blowing in it to make the water go down faster. Come on, squeeze the coffee now. And I was like, what? She goes, nothing. Come on, squeeze the coffee now.
That is funny.
It's just a big...
No, I mean bad. I mean...
So am I the A?
No, of course not.
I know.
This place pissed me off this weekend for a different reason. This is why I thought that I knew exactly what you were talking about. The jars.
Mm-hmm.
The jars.
Dr. Jarts makes makeup. Sounds gross.
Pierre Delecto Productions. Not bad.
Oh, that's good.
That's a little... And people know... Then
Write that down.
That?
Mail it to yourself.
It's like if you did Nagada, right?
Right. We went to get a little afternoon delight from this coffee shop.
Mm-hmm. The downtown location.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So this is different but same.
Different but same. Same establishment. Same.
Different locale.
Raison d'etre.
Mm-hmm. The mise en scene, of course, is vastly different.
Yeah. Claro que sí.
We
go in, we say, can we get this and that and the other?
Be careful.
I don't want to give away anything. So she says, yeah, okay. We say oat milk. She said, oat milk, sure. But try not to have as much dairy.
Yeah. I saw myself on video.
And she says, "Oh, and," as she's ringing us up, "Oh, and by the way, we don't have any more to-go jars."
Okay.
And we're like, "Okay." And she's like, "So you are going to have to just stay here." And we were like, well, I don't think so, because we were going to go walk around with our coffee. And she was like, well, you can have it, and you can, if you just stay around here and just bring the cup back, that's fine. And we were like, well, when do you close? They close in like 20 minutes because everything closes at like 1 p.m. So we said, when do you close? She said, soon. We said, okay, well, we were probably going to be just walking around with our coffee like little dinks that we are.
Like, yeah.
And I don't mean derogatory dink. I mean literally a dink.
Yes.
Dual income, no kid. So we say, yeah, I think that probably not today. We'll come back. We said we'll be back tomorrow. We'll just come back tomorrow. We had no idea. We had no plan to come back tomorrow.
Right.
And she said, actually, we're closed tomorrow. And we said, all right, well, we'll be back sometime for sure. Certainly we'll be back.
Yeah.
And that's no problem. That's completely fine. So then we were thinking, okay, they don't have the jars, but don't they just give you a jar if you're there or to go? What do they do there? We were going to get iced lattes, a fun little afternoon delight.
So you were going to get iced in a jar.
Yeah.
This new location of theirs,
They have. Yeah,
they give you, and we could tell it's the cup that I think is like, it's plastic, but it's made of corn husk. Like they're trying to,
they're like-
because we said it feels like the kind that will collapse in your hand, which is, again, whatever. But the thing with the glass jars then too is like, and then I thought maybe they switched to those because maybe it holds more. Because with the ice, they're such small glasses.
Yeah. Well, that's you're looking at the board. It's like, it's $6 for an iced latte, which is, or for any latte, hot or iced. And you're like, $6.50. You're like, geez,
It's
Louise.
kind of that anywhere.
It
but that's
kind of
like
is
for
anywhere.
a large.
Right.
It's still
But
overpriced.
then you get the jar and it's this big. And which, again, fine. And I appreciate the jar. I appreciate the effort, all that stuff. But
It's not working.
it's not working because if this guy's got 10 at his house, so you guys don't replenish your supply. Now I can't get my drink. You don't get your $6. And then if you're going to give me the cup, apparently you will just put it in a 12-ounce mug for here, and I have to walk around the beautiful downtown area with a mug.
And go into a store and they're like, sorry, you can't have an open drink. You can't have a mug of coffee in here.
Well, it's actually an oat milk ice.
It's going to be an ice drink in a mug.
And that's, you already feel like an idiot doing that anyway. So, but so are you going to take the $2 extra off that you charge to sell everyone a jar?
Right.
Because that has to factor into the price.
Well, that's what I think you're
When
supposed
you
to
go
bring
there-
it back and they give you $1 off your drinkers. There's some
Right,
sort of
right.
incentive. That's why I have 10. I'm like, can I get $10 off? You owe me money. I brought so many jars back.
Because when you go there, I understand. I'm going to be paying a little more because of the environmental aspect. I'm also getting a free jar.
Yeah.
I am never going to bring this jar back. So I'm paying $1 for the jar, a couple dollars for the jar. Fine. But if you're going to sell me one in a mug and I don't get to keep the damn receptacle, take a couple
Why
bucks
isn't
off.
it cheaper?
And then
It's true.
I'm glad to hear that they have actual to-go cups though, because
But only for ice.
But what? So what? What? You're just letting $12 walk out of your store every time you forget that everyone who has a jar isn't going to bring it back.
Or why not have a backup plan?
That's what I mean.
Like just have
some
some paper cups.
Paper's fine, right?
That's the thing. It's the wax on the inside.
God.
They're not recyclable. But I have jars from Des Moines, Iowa, because I go to get coffee and I drive home. And it's not like next time I go to Des Moines, remind me I have to get coffee at this place that overcharges. That's the thing. When I go downtown, I'm just like,
Yeah.
where am I going to get coffee? I didn't bring my jar with me.
I forgot
I'm not carrying my jar.
Well, and the other thing too is when you look at the giant barge of trash that's just kind of floating in the Pacific Ocean,
Which I do. I live on it.
you think some glass jars are going to take up more space than a crunched down little piece of paper that has a wax inside?
And we have to say this for when we get SNL. We're joking.
It's just a question.
I don't want
basically,
to
is
get
what it is.
SNL, have it taken away from me, and then 4 years later, I go onto Dana Carvey's talk show. Okay?
And then get a Netflix special.
And everything's fine. And I actually probably came out on top. Actually,
Actually-
you know what? Yeah, those jars.
Actually, my career is better.
I
than
just
it
think
would be if I
there's.
was on SNL.
You need to offer people it needs to be a choice.
Would you like the jar or would you like a piece of paper?
I'll take a piece of paper, please. I'll take the waffle cone. Do edible. Do an edible cup. Especially if it's ice, you can put it in a chocolate cup. It's not going to melt, right? Candy coated. When you're done, you're like,
Eat the cup.
yes. Regular latte, get it in a chocolate
Write
cup.
that down. Mail
That's
it
a
to
buka.
yourself. Write that down. Mail it to yourself.
That works.
That's gonna work. Write that down. Mail it to yourself.
I'll write that down. Probably mail it to myself.
That's interesting. I really like that. You know, and it is such a modern sort of problem, isn't it? I know people joke about this all the time, but
Here we go. We're about to get his 3 minutes he's been working on. His Landon Sheets, modern problems.
modern problems for an old soul.
God, I've been selling my soul.
You've been selling your what? Whole?
Yeah, working long days.
Jesus. I did not know that's what that song was about. It's about...
Buddy,
I should send Clute to investigate you.
Mm-hmm. I watched a movie as a sequel. It's called Clute Toot. I didn't really do that.
I looked on Letterboxd to review Clute and read some other reviews. Or just to mark it as watched.
Yeah.
And then Clute came up, and then Clute in New York was underneath it. And I was like, what? Is there a
Whoa.
sequel? Clute in New York? Even though in Clute, he's in New York. No, it was the behind-the-scenes documentary about Clute.
I looked it up on Letterman, and he said, "Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer."
Paul,
Paul, and there's It's a beautiful day.
That's my Paul. Is that good?
Yeah. Will it flow?
People don't even know Will It Float anymore, and it's
That's
a shame.
so sad. Do we talk about a thing we watched?
Yeah, please.
Well, I start. You got this big list, and he doesn't want
Jump scare.
Well, of course, we are getting into the scariest time of the year, right?
Yes!
Getting to election season. So I watched. I've started.
That Will Ferrell movie where he runs for president.
Yeah, what's that called? It's like Heart to Heart or something. HART. To Heart.
No.
You know what's crazy in Heart to Heart, the Kevin Hart show, when he is sitting with, I think it's John Cena or something, and he's like, "What are the rules?" He's like, "What are the rules of the show?" And Kevin Hart says, like, "There are no rules." And then they just like hold up their glasses and cheers, like that's
awesome.
something special. If you can have a show where there are no rules, it can just be you talking real with Will Ferrell and
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Post slap.
Yeah, he's fine too.
Wonder if he talks about it.
God, or they probably allude to it, right?
They're like, so you had a strange year.
So about last night.
Well, Kevin Hart, of course, is mad at the Oscars because they found out that he had jokes on Twitter that were bad, and they stripped him of his right, his God-given right to host the Oscars. because he had bad, inappropriate jokes from years before.
Yeah.
So he's mad at the Oscars. He probably wants maybe he jokes about that. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to check that out.
Go ahead. What'd you watch?
Hellraiser.
Haven't you watched all those? All last year you're taking Pinhead this, Pinhead
Well,
that.
I watched the first.
Oh wait,
this was
you were
not
just
last year.
calling me that.
Yeah, I said who you calling Pinhead. Watched. I think I wanted to watch them next year. God, isn't that real? No, I watched. This was probably 4 years ago. I watched the first one and then started the second one. Did not finish it, but I said this year I'm watching all of them.
Even that new one that's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Well, I've got through the first two. But then I've been told we need to take a break.
God, those movies don't even look appealing to me at all.
They are. I think they're going to get to the point where they're not. But the first one is it's an incredible horror film because it is. They don't make them like this anymore.
That's the problem.
It's just disgusting.
It looks gross.
It's disgusting. The second one is bonkers crazy. If you get past some of the acting, but it's just it's so, I don't know how they made it when they made it. But you got Hellraiser, then you've got Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, then you've got Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Then you've got Hellraiser Bloodline, Hellraiser Inferno, Hellraiser Hellseeker, Hellraiser Deader, Hellraiser Hellworld, Hellraiser Revelations, Hellraiser Judgment, and Hellraiser 2022. I think Hellworld is the one that I remember being in the like at Blockbuster or whatever. I'd see the VHS of it's like digital. It was kind of the digitized photo of Pinhead, and you're just like, whoa, because that was probably new. That was like new 15 years ago. The first two are bonkers. I know the first four are sort of that's sort of the story. That's sort of, you get the first four and that's the best of them.
Gotcha.
And then from there, other people start to take them and they go, oh, we could do this with, because it's not really about Pinhead. That's the thing.
Pinhead's but a mere side piece.
He's just a Cenobite. As simple as that. And then you've got, of course,
It's crazy to me that you think you didn't just watch these like maybe 2 years ago and you've talked about them exactly how you're talking about them now.
Did I talk about Chatterer?
Fans will know. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead. Chatterer, no.
What about Butterball?
Oh, yeah, Butterball, yeah. Oh!
That's Butterball. Butterball is also known as the surgeon. His past name was Laszlo. We don't know his age yet. But we do get a peek into his
12
past.
movies, don't know how old he is.
Second one. So I've also watched the first two Friday the 13th. Again, I'll fess up to that. I've rewatched the first two Friday the 13th.
All right.
Trying to get through the third one. But instead we started a little thing called Midnight Mass. Did you watch this?
Yeah.
You watched this, right?
Yeah.
This sucked me. I love this show. All I said was I watched it. I loved it.
Huh.
There's though.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Whoa!
I think I watched 3 episodes last night.
Yeah, it's hard to put down, isn't it?
There's a little bit of it that is, of course, a little self-indulgent.
That's what's his name?
Butterball? Frank
No,
Bone.
he has his own verse on Netflix.
Yeah, the Frankiverse.
They're not all actually connected.
No, and
Everything is just a verse now.
I didn't watch it because of Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah, that's a little too self-indulgent.
I hated that.
Midnight Mass, I think, kind of finds the sweet spot.
What is that? What is that man's name?
I don't know. He's a talented
Mike
guy.
Flanagan.
Yes,
What I call him?
Flaniverse.
Yes, the
You called him
Flaniverse.
Frank.
And of course, his wife is in everything, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It's a little
But
or cool, actually.
I haven't watched Haunting of Hill House. I watched Bly Manor.
You started with the worst.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
Midnight Mass, it is good, but they do because they are full hours and he's allowed to do whatever he wants. There are just scenes of minutes of monologues.
Yeah.
Where I get what they're saying about 2 minutes into it.
Yeah.
And
then
even
they
less,
just-
and then they keep going and going and repeating stuff. Often just repeating what they've already said to the point where you're like, I get it. They're just letting him do what he wants. But then it's taking away from the stuff in this show that is some of the most disturbing stuff you could watch. Of course, in the later episodes, and you're like, this is just such a dark, depressing show. But he wants to, and all this stuff, I feel like he wants to fit the love into it. He wants to fit the religion aspect into it, which he does well in this one. Mm-hmm. It's not what I was expecting. I mean, I caught on pretty early on. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. But
what's interesting is everyone who's old looks like a young person in old person makeup.
that's the problem.
And you're like, pretty sure that's that guy from all of his other shows, but he's dressed up to look old.
Yeah, there's a picture of a priest standing with the guy, and we're like, that looks terrible. I'm like, well, he's also wearing fake makeup. And then I'm like, I know the guy from E.T. is not that old. And then I know this lady that's being an old lady is probably, it was like this is a theater actor's dream. They're like,
oh my God,
I
yeah.
get to dress in old person makeup. Like, honey, come back.
That's what's fun. What I do like about Flanagan is, yes, he does indulge in the sentimentality a little, maybe too far for my liking sometimes, to the point of, as the kids say, cringe. But God love him. You need some of that. You can't just you can't just have the dark without the light.
But what you just said, you need some of it.
Yeah.
I'm listening to someone for 8 minutes talk about the same thing over and over, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
But a little too much is too much. He loves his words. But I saw that Mr. Master of Macabre, Stephen King, loved it. And then when I watched the first episode, I went, of course he loves it. He's like, because it's like reading one of his books.
I love. Mambo number 5. And Midnight Mass. Well, it is because I think last year we watched, oh God, I can't even think of it. Perfect Storm? No. Storm of the Century. The Stephen King.
Sing us a storm of the century.
Stephen King limited series that was like on ABC, whatever. And it's similar in that it's a little fishing island that gets shut off from everyone. And there's someone wicked who comes to town. Now, it's completely different, really.
Something wicked
But
this way come.
we had already watched Midnight Mass, and then we watched that, and I was like, this guy loves Stephen King. And who doesn't, of course? But of course, Stephen King is going to watch the guy who's obviously inspired by him and be like, I like you.
Yeah, everyone doesn't stop talking. So many tangents.
No, I like Midnight Mass, but especially at the end when like things are really ramping up and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Then you do get like truly a 10-minute monologue. That's how I remember it, of his wife
Talking about death.
Like, when we become electric stars and everyone's
Well,
a
because
star.
she does it twice, and one of the
Right.
like 2 different ones, and the first one goes on forever.
Yeah.
And I like that he drives it home at some point, because you're like, this is so dark. Like when the guy's talking about it,
Yeah.
and she wants to talk about what heaven's like.
Yeah.
And didn't you meet your grandma and your grandpa, and your daughter's older now, and she says, Mom, I love you. And then we go back to her again, and we hear it again, but different. And you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But then there are some people that, even though they're doing that stuff, like the guy that plays the priest,
Yeah. I'll watch him do it all
he's
day
eating
long.
it up.
I'll watch him talk about...
I watch those 2 guys sit in a room and talk, but when he gets into the too much of like, that was my problem with the Bly Manor stuff, when it's like, and then I loved him. I loved him eternally. I'm like,
do you have any...
nope.
Do you think you'll check out his other show that came out earlier this year, Midnight Club?
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Another Stephen King ripoff, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the idea of that is that all of these terminally ill kids
Right.
go to a little house where they can all die together, basically. and they, at midnight, all gather around in the library and tell scary stories. And it just might happen that there's scary stories.
Is this it?
Yeah. That's why I started watching it, because I was like, I love this video game about Wraith and a Call.
So this is kind of like, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Well, every episode is kind of like a little short story. Yeah.
Like Are You Afraid of the Dark?
But also, of course,
Midnight
there's the
Society.
overall arc. And I'd say probably skip it.
Okay. So probably skip that. I don't think I'll watch Hill House.
No, watch Hill House. That's the best one.
Okay.
That's the one where I think probably someone was watching him a little closer, because that's his first one out the gates. You can't. No, we're not. No. Mm-hmm. Put the pen down, buddy. Have a scary face in the background of every frame. Sure, we'll give you that. That's awesome. But
All right. Fine. Action.
But see, that's what I like. That I like. I like M. Night Shyamalan. I like this Flanagan guy. I like the people that maybe go a little too far. But I'd rather you go too far than not enough, because that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it different. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it specific. I want a specific vision from someone.
I'd rather you swing and miss than you never walked out on that field at all 500 pounds, and pointed up and said, I'm going to hit the ball over there. And by God, he did. He knew that if he hit the ball, it would go into the sky. I mean, people in the 20s were morons. He's like, if I hit the ball, I'm going to hit it up. I'm going to hit it up. And they're like, you can't tell that. So what'd you watch?
We're done.
Oh, but we told everyone we'd get to it this week.
Maybe next year. We had to listen to a Hellraiser talk again.
Well, when I get to the next ones, bye.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.